Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of Intuitive Angling. Much appreciated you guys spending some time with me today, sharing a little bit of your time out of your day to watch the video. Never take that for granted. And today I've been wanting to do this video for a little bit. We're going to talk about why I spend so much time talking about attention to detail and how bass analyze and study lures before they bite it. And I think it's going to give you some good insights into some things you can do to trigger strikes that normally wouldn't get triggered based upon that attention to detail. Real quick, I just wanted to respond to a couple different questions. I've had some people ask me about that View Products deal on YouTube has now. If you guys haven't seen it, YouTube has offered something to the creators where at the bottom of the screen, when you click on the video, you'll notice a little thing that says View Products. If you click on that, it takes you to some products that we recommend you guys check out. And every time you click on one of those products, the channel gets 20 cents for it. You don't have to buy anything. You just got to click on it and look at it for a second. It takes like 5 seconds to do it. But a lot of people say they can't figure out how to do that. That little icon only stays down there for like 5 seconds and then it goes off the screen. So if you miss it when you first click on the video, just restart the video and you can push on that. That's a great way to support the channel. If you guys wouldn't mind just hitting one of those products when you watch the video for 20 cents, that's a good deal for us, so much appreciated. Okay guys, let's talk a little bit about this attention to detail, how bass study lures. I've spent a lot of time over the years watching bass in shallow water. I'm fascinated by watching a bass, excuse me, how they move around in shallow water, and particularly how they feed and how they hunt. And I've done this in creeks and rivers, lakes across the country, different clear water environments. And I've noticed a couple different things. Bass have a lot of different moods as far as what caused them to bite a lure. A lot of times it's out of reaction, like if you're burning a crankbait or burning a spinnerbait past them, they just hit it without even thinking because it's like a cat, just reacting real quick like that. That's one aspect. A lot of times we'll hit it out of curiosity, anger, competition, that type of stuff. Very seldom will they bite a lure because they're feeding. The feeding window for a bass is something that is a small window during the course of a day. And what happens when a bass is in that feeding mode, that is when they're hardest to catch, in my opinion, because they study a lure. And what happens if you notice, the bass will get close to a bait and they go all around it and they'll look at it and you'll see their eyeballs moving in a bunch of different directions, and they approach that from different angles and they try to determine if it's something edible, if it's something worth the energy or the risk to go after. So that's some of the hardest fish to catch when those fish are actually studying the lure. And that's why I talk so much about attention to detail. You guys have heard me on the channel talking about putting dyes on the end of your soft plastics, roughing up the soft plastics, using fingernail polish on the type of stuff, picking out certain amount of strands on the jigs, trimming the jig skirts back. I've got a ton of videos talking about lure modifications, and every one of those modifications that I'm talking about are designed to catch those bass that are studying a lure. That's the whole thing about it. And I hear a lot of people saying, it's like, oh, that doesn't matter, Andy. If a fish wants to eat, they're going to eat. Guys, that's not true. One of the biggest mistakes that people make in bass fishing is they try to oversimplify things. They try to oversimplify things because they don't want to wrap their mind around and give bass enough credit for how smart they are. Now, yeah, there are times when bass seem like they're not very smart and they hit anything. That's not all the time. That's a small percentage of a bass's life when they do that. And they don't do that very often because bass have been on this planet for 3 million years. They haven't been here for 3 million years making mistakes over and over again. That is why they've learned to analyze and study lures down to the finest minute detail. And that's why, like on a jerkbait, a lot of times, I can't count how many times, guys, I've seen a bass this far behind my jerkbait and they maybe come up and like bump it with their mouth shut or something like that. They're not stupid. They know something is not quite right. So when you're talking about attention to detail, don't ever leave any stone unturned. Attention to detail comes in terms of different color shades, translucents, flats, metallics, you know, different type of accents that you put on there, just all different type of modifications. So the point of the video is what I'm taking. It's just a short video here. I just wanted to reiterate the fact is pay attention to details on your lures. And that's probably one of the biggest things that you're going to learn from my channel here is I spend a lot of time, and you guys know that I've done a lot of videos on attention to detail, because I'm trying to help you guys catch those fish that are difficult to catch when they're feeding. You know, now we've talked about other stuff about how it's easy to catch bass when they're in different moods, but when they're actively feeding, they can be fairly tough. So point of the video, guys, just wanted to reiterate, pay attention to details. Go back over and check out some of the videos I've done on details. I'm going to do a lot more of them moving forward. But just realize that when you're working a slow bait, like a shaky head, a jig, a plastic worm, Ned rig, tube, whatever like that, hopping something across the bottom, you're getting a lot of bass that are looking at that bait that you don't even realize they're looking at them. I can promise you, if you guys get out if you go to the lake you're fishing right now, and you get out on any main lake point on the lake, there's bass on that point. And if you cast a worm or shaky head or something on that point, 9 times out of 10, you're going to bring some bass into that area. Now they may bite the lure. You may get them within 10 feet of your lure. You may get them that far away from your lure. But a bass is going to come to investigate something that's down there. It's very difficult to get those bass to bite, and that's why attention to detail is everything. So never underestimate how important that is. That's just the point of today's quick video. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll talk to y'all later.